Hi guys, this is Pradeep Shivasto. Welcome to my channel. Namaskar. See, most of the companies in today's scenario, they still are on the old-fashioned sales cycle process, right? Generally, when companies are looking for larger opportunities, they tend to have longer sales cycles, which can involve aggressive competitive responses and exhibit great variability with respect to timing and outcome. So let's understand how relevant is the old sales cycle than the new method, which is important to be adapted by most of the companies. I'm sure you'll find this video interesting. Stick into it. See, the companies are still using the old sales methods in this digital world. Now let's understand, if it is a digital world, why should you not transform to the digital world? Why should you use the old, sales methods? So the sales cycles which were educated to the sales team, trained to the sales team, are a longest sales cycle, and it takes a longer time. It involves a lot of hard work, and the results in terms of conversions are less, right? So they don't realize that the buyer and customer are on social media. If the buyer and seller are on social media, why not use the social media platform as an important tool, right? By not empowering your salespeople on social media, it is like someone saying yeah, that you're going for a war without a sword, right? You're going for a fight without a sword. So if you do not have the arms and ammunitions which is required, the result may not be as good as expected, right? So that is the main thing, guys. So what is important is that social media should be used, social selling should be used, people should be trained. I have put up a video earlier, which you should see, that why social selling is important in today's scenario. I'm reiterating that social selling is important in today's scenario in this digital world. Unless and until the companies change, they train their people, they beef up them with all the arms and ammunitions, it's going to be very, very difficult, right? Rather, I've seen getting the C-level meetings is much more easier, through a social media than probably through the old cold calling method. Because when you do cold calling method, you are actually going for a cold call. When you do 100 of cold calls, the conversion, the suspect turns to prospects are only 8 to 10%, and out of that 8 to 10%, then you get into the level next of meeting, you start arranging the next level of meeting, and by the time you do it, reaching to a C-level executive is very, very difficult, and it is a longer and lengthier process. Rather, when you do it in social media, when you use the social media platforms, you are able to not only reach large number of people without checking on their convenience, without checking on their that they are free or not, without checking they are driving or not, or they are probably occupied or not. You are able to reach out to them, and even if there are responses which are 10%, it is going to be more than the cold calling, and you would probably get many of the meetings which you could have not got even in your old sales cycle process. I remember I had a sales manager in my team, uh, who was very, very smart, and he was always above his targets when it was coming to the sales performance. And he was a hard worker, he was a sincere worker, he was an honest worker. But suddenly I started realizing that this guy was able to meet the C-level executives, and he was able to approach companies which were not possible to approach through a cold call and get appointments. So this guy was using social media a few years before than what I'm talking now, right? And it was very, very effective for him. But he would never share this idea with anyone. So I have seen it myself, and I feel most of the companies have not spent enough time in understanding that how do we train our sales teams, and how do we make them use the social media for ensuring they get more and more prospects and they're able to convert them faster. So someone that what is social selling? See, social selling is nothing. It is basically using the digital world and using your presence and behavior on the social media to build influence, right? To make connections, grow relationship and trust. So if you're able to make connections, if you're able to grow relationships, you're able to build trust, the conversation and commercial interaction is bound to happen, right? And that is what is the intent of social selling. So my view is that probably the companies should seriously focus upon this, think about it, and train and empower their people with social media selling, because in today's world it is very important that it is time to work smarter than harder, right? And if you have to see exponential growth in comparison to the cold calling, social media is the answer, social selling is the answer. So my urge to all the companies is to probably research on this, study on this, and see how it is going to help. But let me tell you, the results are not going to be instant. There has to be a patient time. There has to be some patience with the company. And once the patience is taken care of, once after some time, after a few months, you will start seeing the results coming in. And when the results start coming in, the exponential growth will be visible to you, right? So in today's world, in the digital world, social selling is very, very important, and do not ignore this. I'm sure you must have liked this video. Please do like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Namaskar.